Good evening. It is Sunday, June 14th. I think this is my first update in almost 2 weeks. I don't think I did one last week. So, what's been going on in the world of a micro budget filmmaker? When last we talked, had I entered it into two film festivals? I entered into the Heartland, into the Twin Cities. I feel like I had. What I probably didn't know at the time, or I didn't tell you, is that I'm not going to find out about those until September, whether it's even been accepted. And I would say, gosh, I have no way of knowing. I I don't know. I mean, the very optimistic part of me says 50%, as in it may get in one of them. The maybe the more realistic part of me says 10% because it just doesn't feel like a film festival film, even though these are, I don't think, like film festival type festivals. Looking at the entries, I don't know. What else have I been doing? I've been researching. Well, go backwards a bit. So I decided I would get a 30-day free trial to IMDb Pro, and so I could add, well, I could add some more stuff to the page for the film, but I could also get a little behind the scenes and look up some production companies that have made films for like the Hallmark Channel, Lifetime, Pureflix. I think there's something called Great American Channel or Great American Media. And it just seems like that's the kind of audience maybe that the film would play well to. Just obviously that'd be streaming, it wouldn't be in theaters. But so I did that, and I wrote emails to three of them, just very brief. I mean, the essence of them is, do you acquire films that are already done? Because all three of them, and this is pretty much a case with everything, as you know, no one these days is really accepting unsolicited scripts or pitches or whatever, unlike the movie, which when you see it, you'll understand that reference. So I've done that. I did some research on them. So that's kind of fun. And I submitted, well, I emailed three companies. I don't think I emailed the umbrella companies directly. I think they were production companies that had done stuff for these three entities. And I'm thinking more about that whole idea. I mean, so I've got my previous movie, The Key, is on Prime, and somewhat because of that, or somewhat even not because of that. I mean, I've got my account and everything, and I went in and I started filling it out to submit this film, Act Break, to Prime. And I don't know what criteria they would use. So back in 2021, when I submitted The Key, it was the middle of the lockdowns, and maybe because of that, or maybe not, they took it. I had to do some technical stuff, or I hadn't submitted something right. But basically, they took that with no problem. And then, as I've recounted before, it got, I mean, for what it is, it got some amount of minutes viewed in the whatever tens of thousands or something, which again doesn't add up to a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. And I didn't make any money off it, hardly at all. And so I'm pretty sure, I mean, would they accept it now? I know they've sort of tightened their controls, but for a movie, because when that got accepted, it was people could just watch it, and I guess I don't know if it had ads in it or whatever, and I got like a a 1 penny for every 2 zillion minutes or something. But now it's still on there, and it's like a rental, maybe a 99 cent. So long way of saying I could put it on there, and I don't know if I can choose the rental price or the buying price. And I don't really know how that buying works. I don't think you download it. So if I did, I would probably make it $3.99 to rent or $4.99 to rent, and $10 to buy if you could do that. And then what I would do is I would let everyone who has seen it know, not that they would want to necessarily see it again. Some might. A couple people have said they would. And they could pass the news along. And then those who didn't get a chance to see it but have asked about seeing it, would they pay $4 or $5 or whatever to see it? And so I don't know what the split is. I need to look that up, but probably, I mean, if 50 people saw it, I would probably end up making a net of like $100 or something. So no real money to speak of. But is it possible that, 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 people could see it and we could start making some real money? Possibly, but probably not. I feel like this light is too bright and it's making my forehead shiny. Oh, there we go. So, that's the same thing. There's Tubi, there's Indie Film Rights, there's Film Hub, there's all these different things. And I haven't really decided if that's the route I want to go. Um, and they've all got different deals. I think I talked about some of this research before. So, still figuring that out. The thing I did kind of very hands-on Z was that about 6 weeks ago, or maybe more than that, I auto captioned it through or through not Premiere, through Resolve. And when I went back in to look for that version, I couldn't find it, so I had to redo the whole thing. So I don't know if that was Tuesday or something. I had it auto caption, which again, I think I mentioned this before. It does a pretty good job. Sometimes it doesn't really miss the words, but it puts them in the wrong place, like way too early or way too late. But it's very impressive. Like Susie is one of the characters, for instance, and after it hears someone call this person Susie, and then it hears Susie's voice later on, if Susie is off screen, it knows that it's Susie off screen, and so it'll say like Susie in brackets and then her dialogue. Um, so the AI in it is pretty impressive. I would say it got, I don't know, I could probably count on one hand the number of words that it got wrong, maybe on two hands, two fingers, two hands, 10 fingers. So very impressive. It even does like the dot, dot, dots, and it'll put in exclamation points, um, like doorbell ringing. It's pretty impressive. So over the course of, I think, 4 days, I did like 25 pages and then another 25. Then maybe one more little segment. Then I finished it today. So I don't know if I'll go back and proof it or not. But anyways, the captions are basically done. So that's nice. I found a couple tiny little sound things that I tweaked, just very, very tiny. So is the movie done? I don't know. I have a feeling if Brett were to watch it, when he were to watch it, because I have to say, he has not watched it. Reese has not watched it, which a little surprising, maybe not. So I think they might have some more color stuff that they'd want to do, which is fine. But in the meantime, nothing more than that is going to change that I know of. And at some point, I'll make a new DCP 2K and 4K file. I don't know if I mentioned that Sky has seen it. She watched it a couple times. I put a unlisted link on YouTube with very strict instructions saying, please, you can watch it to her and Teresa and Brett, but please don't share it and forward the link and blah, blah, blah. So she watched it once or twice straight through. And then I think she's watched it a couple times, just a little bits, maybe her scenes to get some, self critique, which is kind of cool. And then I think her parents watched it a couple times. So it has very, very minimal views purposely. And then I made it private. And I just today made it unlisted. So one of the crew members, one of the crucial key crew members could watch it. But certainly, some people have been asking, oh, is it on YouTube? And I'm like, no, because I didn't spend all this time and money, which obviously a lot more money than time, to just dump it onto YouTube. So still figuring that out. I guess the other big thing I've done is I don't know, I've probably asked 30 people and probably gotten 8 replies so far ish. to just write not really a review. I mean, I said if you want to write a review, that's fine, but really just kind of your thoughts on it, comments on it, just in a paragraph or so. Maybe some people have written a couple paragraphs, some have written just 3 or 4 sentences about they enjoyed the film or whatever they want to say. So I'm compiling those and I'm going to use those just in future promotions. And my thinking there is that with all of I mean, you've got Rotten Tomatoes, of course, you've got IMDb, you've got official film critics, which I don't even know who they are anymore. And then you've got all the people on the internet, like what is it, the drunk critic? What's his name? The critical drinker, critical drinker. And I mean, I'm sure there's hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTubers who will review films. And not that I could get this film into their hands, although I have thought about it. But to me, just regular people who see it and would actually take the time to write something, I think that's at least as valuable if I could get 20 or 30 of those than to get some, critical rating, like a Rotten Tomatoes meter or whatever at 85% or whatever it would be, because those things can be gamed so easily that it's not even funny. So that, I guess, is the other big thing that I have accomplished. I'm still hoping for more. In fact, I have to follow up on some others. I've been working a little bit on the new script, and I'll give you a hint. Not that anyone cares, but Disclosure Day just came out Friday. Didn't do great, like 44 million. And so the subject matter is somewhat tied to the idea that been working on. I mean, obviously not on that sort of a scale, and it's not like someone would see my film and then say, "Oh my gosh, that looks like Disclosure Day." Oh, and the other thing is I saw a trailer or a teaser really for Pixar's movie that's coming out in March, I think 2027, called Grudo or something. It's like and the teaser was these 3 cats, and one of them was sort of like a mob, like a mobster cat. And unfortunately, um, I don't know, gosh, maybe 10 years ago, a cousin, well, one of my nephews came up with like the core of an idea for something which eventually became called The Cat Father. And I had been working on it with one of my sons and completely rewrote it many times. I ended up writing most of it, and he had a lot of input on it. But anyways, I told him, watch this. I think the cat father is dead. So that was unfortunate. So that's really the update. And now you can see why I haven't given one for a couple weeks. Not a whole lot has happened. If I think of anything else, I I will let you know. But yeah, nothing too much. If anyone who is watching this is clamoring to see the movie or says, Jack, I've got an amazing idea how you can make tons of money, please let me know. Until then, go make your own micro budget film and let us know how that goes.